The Chicago Double Life. Margaret Thompson had always believed that love was like the changing seasons of Chicago, predictable, enduring, sometimes harsh, but ultimately reliable. At 58, after 35 years of marriage, she thought she knew every layer of her husband, Robert. He was a successful real estate developer, the kind who built luxury condos along the lakefront and rubbed shoulders with city aldermen. Their life in the quiet suburb of Oak Park was comfortable, a Victorian home with creaking floors, Friday night dinners with their two grown children, and grandkids who filled the house with chaos every Sunday. It started with a small doubt. Robert's late client meetings had become more frequent, stretching into weekends. He'd come home smelling faintly of someone else's perfume, blaming it on crowded elevators in downtown high-rises. Margaret brushed it off at first. Trust was the foundation of their marriage, wasn't it? One crisp autumn evening in 2024, while helping their granddaughter set up the family locator app on her new phone, for safety, honey, Margaret noticed Robert's dot blinking not in the Loop, but in an upscale neighborhood near Lake Michigan, in Wilmette. His black luxury SUV, the one he'd bought for site visits, was parked outside a modern lakeside home with floor-to-ceiling windows and a manicured lawn sloping toward the water. Her heart skipped. She drove there that night, hands gripping the wheel of her sensible Honda. The house was stunning, glass walls glowing warmly, a Tesla in the driveway, kids' bikes scattered on the porch. She parked down the street and watched. Robert emerged, laughing, carrying a teenage girl on his back, while a younger one trailed behind, begging for a turn. A woman in her mid-40s, elegant, with auburn hair, kissed him on the cheek as they all went inside. Margaret's world tilted. She sat there until dawn, tears freezing on her cheeks in the chilly air. Back home, Robert greeted her with coffee and a kiss. "Rough night with the grandkids?" he asked innocently. She nodded, forcing a smile. The investigation began quietly. Margaret, a retired schoolteacher who'd spent decades reading between the lines of children's excuses, hired a private investigator named Carla, a no-nonsense woman recommended by a friend from book club. "I need to know everything," Margaret said, her voice steadier than she felt. Weeks later, Carla's report shattered her. Robert had a second family for 15 years. The woman, Emily, was a former client from a property deal. They had two daughters, Sophia, 14, and Olivia, 12, who believed their dad was a devoted single father running a small consulting firm. He split his time meticulously, weekdays with Margaret, weekends and trips with them. Funded by diverted retirement funds, flipped properties under a shell company, and even a fake identity for taxes. Bigamy, fraud, lies stacked like the skyscrapers he built. Margaret didn't collapse. The pain was there, a deep ache in her chest, but beneath it burned a cold resolve. She enlisted her children. Her daughter Claire, a sharp corporate lawyer in the city, read the report and wept silently. "We'll bury him, Mom," she whispered. Her son Ethan, a journalist for a local news outlet, paced furiously. "This is a story, but family first." They planned carefully. Margaret played the devoted wife, cooking Robert's favorite pot roast, planning their 35th anniversary party at the Signature Room, high above the city with views of the glittering skyline. She initiated intimacy, laughed at his jokes, all while gathering more evidence. Carla uncovered hidden accounts in the Caymans, embezzled funds from his firm. The anniversary arrived in spring 2025. The restaurant was packed with 60 guests, Robert's partners, old friends, even the mayor's aide. Crystal glasses clinked, the Chicago River sparkled below. Margaret wore an elegant navy gown, pearls Robert had given her years ago. She looked radiant, guests said. Robert stood for his toast, voice booming with charm. "Margaret, my rock, my love for 35 years. You've made me the luckiest man." Applause rippled. He pulled out a velvet box, an upgraded diamond ring. "Will you renew our vows with me?" The room erupted. Cameras flashed. Margaret stood, smiling as she slipped on the ring. Then her voice cut through. "Before we renew anything, there's something everyone should see." Claire had rigged the projector. Ethan nodded from his table. Margaret pressed play on her phone. Robert's voice filled the room, a recorded call to Emily. "Heading home soon, Em. Told Margaret it's a late closing. The girls okay? Can't wait for our lake weekend." Gasps. Then photos: Robert's wedding to Emily on a Michigan beach, birth certificates listing him as father, family vacations to Disney, trips Margaret thought were solo business jaunts, bank transfers from their joint savings. The room froze. Robert's face drained of color. "Margaret, this is private. We can talk." "No," she said calmly. 35 years of your lies deserve a public truth." His partner, Greg, stood. "Robert, is this real? Our firm?" Claire interjected. "It's all documented. IRS has been tipped. Bigamy, fraud, felonies." Guests backed away. Whispers turned to outrage. Robert lunged for the projector. Ethan blocked him. Margaret pulled divorce papers from her clutch. "Sign, Robert. Give up claims to everything, or this goes to trial. Prison time." Trembling, he signed amid flashing phones. Security escorted him out as the story broke. Ethan's outlet had the exclusive. The fallout was swift. Robert's firm collapsed under investigations, assets frozen. He became Chicago's scandal, memes of double-life developer viral. Emily, devastated, filed for support, but learned the truth. She'd been the other family. Margaret claimed it all. The house sold, investments reclaimed. She moved to a vibrant condo in the Gold Coast, overlooking the lake that once hid his secrets. At 60, she rediscovered writing, poems abandoned for marriage and teaching. Her memoir, Lakeside Lies, became a bestseller. She volunteered at women's shelters, helping others spot the signs. One evening at a reading, a kind widower approached her. "Your strength inspires," he said. They shared coffee, then walks along the shore. Margaret no longer looked back. The woman who'd trusted blindly was gone.